Namaskar. Welcome to episode 26 of Satyagraha series. Every week we try to bring forth the environmental, the societal, and political issues that are grappling our society, grappling our nation. This week too, we thought of organizing a dialogue to understand the main reason behind the farmers' protest. Now, to give you a brief background, on September 27th, our president, Mr. Ramnath Govind, he gave assent to three of the laws. These laws are the Farmers Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Bill, Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Bill, and Essential Commodities Bill. Now, after he gave his assent, these bills they became laws, and the farmers, the protest, it started erupting from almost every part of our country. Now, since then, the protest is occurring, but they have remained largely unheard because they are not covered by the mainstream media. Some local channels, YouTube channels, have tried to cover these protests, but it's still remained in bits and pieces. Now, 2 months had passed, and there is no still a visible action or stride by the government in order to alleviate this concern, to listen to farmers' concern. Now, disheartened and aggrieved, the farmers they decided to go to Delhi, knock on government's door, and talk to their representatives. Now, what followed after is an unprecedented procession. Lakhs of farmers they came out on road and started marching towards Delhi with all their tractors, trolley, and 6 month ration. Now, the stance of government in order to curb these peaceful protests is still questionable and raises questions about their sensitiveness and concern about the very people for which they have made these bills. The farmers were tear gassed, the water cannon were thrown on them, and the lathi charged, and they were lathi charged. And through our eminent panelists, we will try to understand the real reason behind the farmers' protest, the ground reality, and answer to all the false narratives. So we have with us Mr. Harinder Singh Mansaiya. He's from Punjab and presently he is associated with Socialist Party of India and is the president of Punjab region. I welcome you, Harinderji. We also have with us Mr. Mahendra Yadav. He's from Bihar. He is the national convener of National Alliance of People Movement. And for the past 20 years, he has been working for the relief and rehabilitation of flood victims of Bihar. I welcome you, Mahendraji. Also, I think with time, our other guest, Mr. Kiran Kumar Vissa and Akshay ji will join us. But more on that later. Let's start with the session. So मेरा पहला क्वेश्चन रहेगा हरिंदर जी से. हरिंदर जी, आप हमारे व्यूअर्स को आप बताइए कि ये प्रोटेस्ट किसके बारे में है एंड इनमें कौन कौन इन्वॉल्व है एंड इनके कंसर्न्स क्या है फार्मर्स के. हरिंदर जी, ओवर टू यू. आप म्यूटेड है, आपका माइक बंद है.
हेलो,
हाँ जी.
आवाज
हाँ जी.
जब से सेंटर सरकार ने ये तीनों ऑर्डिनेंस ले आए हैं तो पंजाब के कि नहीं सारे देश के लोगों को लगा था कि ये किसानी के लिए घातक सिद्ध होंगे, इसलिए इसकी चिंता पंजाब के किसानों, हरियाणा के किसानों और उत्तरी यूपी के किसानों को ज्यादा सी. जहां पंजाब में एमएसपी पर जो फसलें हैं कणक और धान उसको खरीदा जा रहा था. अब इस ऑर्डिनेंस जो जल्दी में इन्होंने पास करा दिया, बिल बना दिया, उसको कानून बना दिया, तो उससे लगा कि ये पंजाब के किसानों के हित में नहीं है, क्योंकि जब प्राइवेट प्लेयर इस मैदान में आएंगे और मंडियों खत्म हो जाएंगी. पंजाब में बहुत बड़ा स्ट्रक्चर है, जो मंडी बोर्ड है वो कहलाता है, एक बड़ा डिपार्टमेंट है. पंजाब मंडी बोर्ड, उसके अंडर मंडियां बनियां हैं। मंडी उसकी जो आमदन होती है उससे 33,000 करोड़ रुपये सालाना की, उससे इसकी लिंक रोड जो विलेज के लिए बनी हुई है और गांव में मंडियां, छोटे सेंटर बने हुए हैं जहां से खरीद होती है वो, और उनकी तनख्वाह वगैरह का सब चलता है। सो इससे जब प्राइवेट प्लेयर आ जाएंगे, हमारे मोगा में आज से 5 साल पहले इन्होंने, अडानी ग्रुप ने एक 100 एकड़ में बड़ा सैलोज बनवाया जहां ये अपना स्टोरेज करते थे। सो पंजाब के लोगों को लगा कि हमारी जब फसल एमएसपी नहीं पे नहीं बिकेगी तो किसान बेचारा क्या करेगा। हम देख रहे हैं कि हमारे यूपी से, बिहार से जो 1888 रुपये एमएसपी पे धान का रेट है, और वहां से यूपी बिहार से ये 1,000 रुपये क्विंटल लेकर आते हैं और पंजाब की मंडियों में बेच रहे हैं। तो पंजाब के लोगों ने सोचा कि हम यूपी और बिहार नहीं बनने देंगे पंजाब को। तो इसलिए जब हमारी हम तो पहले लड़ रहे हैं इस बात पे कि स्वामीनाथन कमीशन की रिपोर्ट लागू की जाए और लोगों को उसकी लागत के साथ मूल्य फसलों का मिले। सो इसके लिए पंजाब में लड़ाई शुरू हुई और उससे ही हम लड़ रहे हैं। आज 66 दिन हो गए हैं, 66 दिन हो गए हमें लड़ते हुए। हमने ट्रेनें बंद की, हमने पंजाब बंद की कॉल की और गांव-गांव में गए, और हमारे जो किसान यूनियन का कैडर बहुत बड़ा है। हर गांव में जो किसान यूनियन बनी हुई है उसके चाहे 30 ग्रुप हैं, 30-32 ग्रुप हैं, पर हर एक गांव में किसी ना किसी ग्रुप का एक यूनियन का ग्रुप है जो गांव लेवल पे लोगों को चेतन करता रहता है कि सरकार की ये स्कीमें हैं, ये हमारे पंजाबियों के लिए, हमारे देश के लिए, हमारे किसानों के लिए, हमारे मजदूरों के लिए, किरतियों के लिए अच्छी नहीं है। सो इसलिए हमारे पंजाब के लोग खड़े हुए और पंजाब ने देश की अगुवाई करी इस मामले में, और हमने मेमोरेंडम दिए, पंजाब की सरकार को बोला कि इन बिलों को आप वापस लो, पर किसी ने नहीं सुनी पंजाब के। अच्छी बात यह रही कि पंजाब में कांग्रेस की सरकार सी, तो ये बीजेपी की होती तो शायद किसानों को इतना बोलने नहीं दिया जाता। तो पंजाब के लोगों ने दिल्ली जाने का फैसला, हम भी सभी लोग, सभी पंजाबी, सभी बच्चे, सभी माता, बुजुर्ग, बहनें सभी दिल्ली की ओर चले। 26 तारीख को हमने दिल्ली की कॉल की थी, 26-27 को। और आपने देखा है कि नेशनल मीडिया नहीं दिखा रहा, गोदी मीडिया नहीं दिखा रहा, और सारे देश में इस बात की, सोशल मीडिया की मैं चर्चा करना चाहता हूं कि आपने देखा होगा कि हरियाणा सरकार ने इतने बड़े-बड़े बैरिकेड्स लगाए, बड़े पत्थर ले आकर हाईवे पर रखे, और नेशनल हाईवे जो बने हुए हैं देश के लिए, उसको खड्डे खोदकर 10-10, 20-20 फुट खड्डे खोदकर उनको पाटा गया, उनको टोए बनाए गए ताकि किसान वहां से मूव ना कर सके दिल्ली की ओर। पर मैंने आप खुद देखा है कि किसानों के जो नौजवान थे पंजाब के, जिनको ये आज तक नशई बोलते रहे कि ये नशे में ग्रस्त है पंजाबी नौजवान, ते वो उन नौजवानों ने, और हरियाणा के सभी छोटे भाई है पंजाब के, पंजाब से लागू हुआ था हरियाणा, तो उन्होंने लोगों ने, नौजवानों ने बड़ा साथ दिया पंजाब अपने बड़े भाई का, और वो सारे बैरिकेड हटा दिए और हमने दिल्ली वाल कूच किया। तो मैं बधाई देना चाहता हूँ हरियाणा के सभी लोगों को, जो आप हमारा लगा हुआ मोर्चा दिल्ली में, दिल्ली की बॉर्डरों पर चारों पास से किसानों ने घेरा हुआ है। तो जितना खाने पीने का, हम तो 6 महीने का राशन लेकर दिल्ली की ओर चले हुए हैं। हमारे पास खाने का, पीने का सभी राशन, गैस, 3-3 4-4 गांव की या 3-3 4-4 ट्रॉलियां हैं, हमारे बिस्तरे भी वहीं लगे हुए हैं और हमारा खाने पीने का सामान भी उसमें है। तो हमने पंजाब के किसानों ने सोचा है कि या तो बिल वापस हो, तो नहीं हम वापस घर में नहीं आएंगे, और हमारा मोर्चा वहां लगा हुआ है। दूसरी बात जो दूसरी अब हम करना चाहते थे कि इसका सभी लोगों को लगता है कि किसानों को फायदा है और हमें कोई लेना देना नहीं है इन बिलों से। पर मैं बताना चाहता हूं कि जो किसान से इस बार हमारे होशियारपुर में मक्की की फसल होती है, उसकी एमएसपी 1740 रुपये है, और इन प्राइवेट प्लेयरों ने 600-700 रुपये में वो मक्की खरीदी। और आज आप मक्की का आटा लेने बाजार में जाओगे तो 50 रुपये से कम आपको मक्की का आटा नहीं मिलेगा। इतना बड़ा धोखा जो लोगों के साथ हो रहा है, जो कंज्यूमर है, जो खाने वाला आदमी है, हर एक आदमी, हर एक बच्चा, हर एक है, किसी ने खाना तो खानी है। जब वो बाजार से खरीदेगा, अडानी और अबानी से खरीदेगा, तो उसका रेट तिगना और चौगुना हो जाएगा। सो इसी बात का डर हमें है। और दूसरी नेक्स्ट बात इन्होंने की है इन बिलों में कि ये मल्टीनेशनल कंपनियां या अडानी अबानी ग्रुप ने जो लोगों को कंट्रैक्ट फार्मिंग देंगे और उनको अच्छा रेट देकर उनकी जमीन ठेके पे लेंगे, और किसान बेला हो जाएगा। इससे किसान का अपनी मिट्टी से प्यार है हमारा किसानों का, और हम अपनी मिट्टी से दूर हो जाएंगे। नंबर 2, जो हमारी जमीन में आगे तो हम वहां मजदूरी करेंगे, मजदूर के तौर पर वहां रहेंगे। सो इतनी बड़ी इनकी चाल है जो हमारी जमीनों को हड़पना चाहते हैं। और दूसरी बात मैं बताना चाहता हूं कि जेकर आपका जहां कोई इनसे डिस्प्यूट हो जाता है इन कंपनियों से, तो आप कोर्ट नहीं जा सकते, आप एसडीएम के पास जा सकते हैं। तो एसडीएम के किस बात उसकी क्या औकात है? वो तो इनके भी इशारे पे तो प्रधानमंत्री चल रहा है देश का, होम मिनिस्टर चल रहा है, तो एसडीएम हमारी बात सुनेगा कि इनकी बात सुनेगा? सो इस बात का खदशा हमें है कि ये कोर्टों में नहीं जाने जाएगा, किसान किसान तो मारा जाएगा। हमने तो आजादी की लड़ाई में कितनी कुर्बानियां दी है सारे देश के लोगों ने, और सबसे ज्यादा कुर्बानियां तो पंजाबियों ने दी है इसमें, चाहे वो हिंदू कम्युनिटी में हो चाहे सिख कम्युनिटी में हो। और हमें बदनाम करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं ये लोग, हमें खालिस्तानी बोल रहे हैं। वहां दिल्ली में हमारे लोगों को ये धरना देने आते हैं, और हरियाणा के सभी लोग, सभी भाई हमारी मदद कर रहे हैं, बहनें मदद कर रहे हैं, बच्चे मदद कर रहे हैं। दिल्ली के लोग वहां से खाना लेकर जाते हैं। पर ये लोग शरारतपूर्ण ढंग से इस आंदोलन को बदनाम करने के लिए इनको खालिस्तानी बता रहे हैं, आतंकवादी बता रहे हैं, उग्रवादी बता रहे हैं। ये आंदोलन को खत्म करना चाहते हैं। मगर हमारे जो नौजवान वर्ग है, अब आपने देखा होगा कि सभी लोग बड़े तरीके से, बड़े संयम से, इतना शांत आंदोलन कभी नहीं हुआ। पिछले 60 दिन 70 दिन हो गए हैं हम ये पंजाब में आंदोलन चलाते हुए, कभी इतना शांत, कभी एक शीशा भी टूटा हो, किसी के डड़ा भी मारा हो, पत्थर भी मारा हो, कोई बात नहीं, बड़ी शांति से हम लोग चल रहे हैं। और इतना दुनिया देखेगी कि इतना शांत माहौल से इतनी बड़ी लड़ाई, इस दिल्ली की सरकार को मानना होगा कि ये वे किसान है जो अपने हकों लिए लड़ रहे हैं, वो हकों के लिए ये आए हुए हैं। ते अभी इनको सिर्फ जिद है, क्यों जिद के मारे ये कानून वापस नहीं ले रहे, संशोधन करने को तैयार हैं। जो हमारी किसान यूनियन जो फैसला पंजाब में होकर गया थे, भी जाएंगे तब जब इनको वापस कराएंगे। और ये आंदोलन 6 महीने चले, 1 साल चले, जितना मर्जी हो जाए, सरकार के लिए गले की हड्डी बनेगा ये आंदोलन। और देश में मैं बताना चाहता हूं कि इससे एक नई मूवमेंट खड़ी होगी, जो किसान, मजदूर और लोगों की मूवमेंट होगी, और देश में एक अच्छा बदलाव आएगा, अच्छा संकेत आएगा इस मूवमेंट से।
थैंक यू हरिंदर जी। आपने बहुत ही सिंप्लीफाइड तरीके से आई थिंक प्रोटेस्ट के बारे में बताया। मैं एक अपने जो इंग्लिश व्यूअर्स हैं उनके लिए थोड़ा ट्रांसलेट कर देता हूँ इंग्लिश में। So Mr. Harinder, he talked about the present benefit of APMC markets which are prevalent in Punjab. He said that they have a turnover of around 33,000 crore and it employs a large number of people. And he also compared the present APMC rate with the UP and Bihar market in which the APMC market is diluted. According to him, the millets, they are procured at a price of around 1800 rupees per quintal in Punjab, whereas the same thing is being sold at around rupees 1000 rupees per quintal. He also mentioned about the issue with the president bill, which is that it doesn't mention about the minimum support price. And if we remember that in MS Swaminathan report, they have specifically mentioned that the livelihood of farmer can be only improved if we increase the MSP, if we increase the minimum support price. And the third issue he mentioned, the president bill, is the issue of contract farming. According to him, if this bill is, if these laws are enacted, the farmers will become laborers on their own land. The lands, the corporate they will occupy these lands on lease, and the farmers will have to work on their own land as laborers. Lastly, he mentioned that in case if there is any dispute with the corporate and the farmer, then the farmer can't go take the route of court. He has to go a route via an ombudsman like SDM or sub district magistrate. And we all know that these bureaucrats, ombudsmen, are somewhat inclined towards the corporate sector. If we take example of insurance ombudsman that some of us might have experienced, that they always somehow take side of the corporate sector. So this was all he has mentioned. हरिंदर जी, मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है आपसे। हमारे जो गवर्नमेंट है, हमारी गवर्नमेंट दे से कि इस बिल के लागू होने के बाद हमारा एपीएमसी मार्केट खत्म नहीं होगा, बिकॉज ऐसा बिल में कहीं मेंशन नहीं है। एंड ये एक तरह का नैरेटिव बना हुआ है कि बिल के लागू होने के बाद एपीएमसी मार्केट खत्म हो जाएगा। तो आप इसके बारे में थोड़ा बताएंगे हमें कि एक्चुअली क्या रियलिटी है क्या?
हाँ, इसका है क्या, जरूर है ये कि ये एमएसपी खत्म होगी, मगर ये अभी अभी बात चल रही है जो 5वें राउंड की, ये लिखने को तैयार हैं कि इसको हम लिख कर देते हैं। पहले तो ये बोल ही रहे थे ना, बयान दे रहे थे कि मोदी जी भी कह रहे थे, प्राइम मिनिस्टर भी कह रहे हैं, गृह मंत्री भी कह रहे हैं कि एमएसपी खत्म नहीं होगी, पर लिखती रूप में ये देना चाहते थे कि हम करेंगे। तो पहले हम बैकग्राउंड में जाइए तो हमने देखा ही है कि कोई जवान सरकार की है, जो सच्चाई है वो लोगों के लिए रास नहीं आई है, तो लोग समझते हैं कि हाँ, हमसे झूठ बोला जा रहा है। सो बड़ी बात ये है कि सरकार पर से लोगों का विश्वास उठ चुका है। पहले कोई नोटबंदी हुई, उससे कहते थे बड़ा फायदा होगा, विदेशों से धन आएगा, हमारा हम लोगों के सामने रखेंगे स्विस बैंकों का, वो नहीं रखा गया। उसके बाद देखा है आपने, सभी लोगों ने देखा है, धर्म के आड़ पर ये देश में दंगा फैलाना चाहते हैं। सो इस बात का लोगों को है कि सरकार से विश्वास नहीं है कि ये अब बोलेंगे मिल जाएगी।
हरिंदर जी, मेरा सवाल था कि जो अड़तियों की बात करते हैं, तो गवर्नमेंट कह रही है कि जो अड़ती हैं कि वो खत्म नहीं होगा, वो मार्केट खत्म नहीं होगी इस चीज से। तो उसके बारे में आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं?
पंजाब के तो सभी आड़तीए जा रहे हैं वहां, वो ये आड़तीयों को बिचौलिया कहते हैं।
ओके।
ये बात, बिचौलियों को खत्म करेंगे बीच से। हम आड़तियों से किसान जाता है, किसान बहुते पढ़े लिखे नहीं है, किसान जाता है आड़ती के पास, भी हमने फसल लेकर आए हैं, वो आड़ती उसकी कनक है, धान है, उसको उतराता है, खाली करवाता है और वो उसकी सफाई कराता है, वो मार्केट वाले को लेकर आता है, उसका मूल्य लगाता है और उसको पैसे करा कर भी आड़तिया उसके खाते में जमा कराता है और इसके बदले में उसको 2.5% आड़त गवर्नमेंट देती है, जो किसान से नहीं लेता, गवर्नमेंट से लेता है। सो जे किसान और बीच के जो रास्ता था अपना आड़तिया सा, उसको भी खत्म करना चाहते हैं और इसके लिए पंजाब के सभी आड़तियों भी दिल्ली की ओर चले हुए हैं। ये बताना चाहते थे कि ये तो सिर्फ किसानों का है और मजदूरों का है, अब आड़ती भी हमारे जो हिंदू कम्युनिटी से हैं ज्यादा, और सभी लोग अपने अपने लेकर व्हीकल दिल्ली की ओर वो भी चल पड़े।
Okay. Thank you, Rinaji. I'll just translate what he has mentioned in English. According to him, the government is promulgating a false narrative that only the Sikh community is being protesting against the farm bills, and they are being equated to being from a miscreant organization, terrorist organization like Khalistan. But this is not the reality. He said that if we talk about Artiya are basically the service providers that are helping farmers to sell their produce at a good market rate. They are providing services to the farmers. And the present bill, it will dissolve these Artiyas, and the farmer has to suffer because of that. And these Artiyas are not from the Sikh community, and mostly they are from the Hindu community, and they're also the part of the protest. Also, Mr. Kiran Kumar Visa has joined us. Let me give you a brief introduction about Kiranji. Kiranji is, for the past 2 decades, has been quite active in resolving farmer issues and improve their livelihood. He has been associated with many organizations like uh, Alliance for Sustainable and Holistic Agriculture, ASHA, and Raitu Swarajya Vedika. I welcome you, Mr. Kiran Kumar. And since you have been in Delhi for the past 10 days, my question is can you please describe about the ground reality of the protest? Uh, are the protests being peaceful, or is there some miscreant organizations are part of these protests? And what is all the atmosphere of these protests? Kiranji,
See,
over to you.
yeah. So should I speak in English, right? Is this audible?
Yeah, this is audible.
My audio is okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Yeah.
I'm actually at a dharna sthal here. So I just stepped aside. Protests are happening across the today and also even the last few days, and going to intensify in the next few days in support of the farmers agitation. And even this agitation itself is actually an all India agitation, as it is. That's the first thing I would like to say. I'm sure that the other speakers also might have reiterated. Sorry, I was not able to join earlier. But the first thing is that the struggle on this has been going on for a long time. Since July 26th, this struggle started. The first big protest in Punjab happened on July 26th. That is when these acts, which are now, they were only ordinance at that time. So despite the struggle, and then on August 9th, the agitations all over the country also began under the AACC banner and so on. The thing is, only now when the Punjab and Haryana farmers and Uttar Pradesh farmers came all the way to the border of Delhi and have sat there in protest, only then the national government has really woken up to have serious talks. It had a couple of round of talks earlier with the Punjab organizations, but they had to walk out because the government was simply trying to explain to the farmers why these bills were good. Basically, they were treating the farmers as if they don't understand what is in these acts, and somehow they need to be just, talk. And then they came upon this Delhi Chalo agitation, and this was a nationwide call. So on November 26th, 27th, while the Delhi Chalo happened, also protests have happened across the country. So that's the first thing I want to place on record. Second is, as far as the agitation in Delhi is concerned, I've been there for the last 10 days. Firstly, if you go to either the Singhu border or the Tikri border or any of the other places where now the road blockades have been happening, it's a very well organized and peaceful protest that is happening there. In fact, if you imagine, these when they start off from Punjab or coming all the way to Delhi, they were actually about to be the government made all attempts to stop them at the Delhi, at the Haryana Punjab border, not letting them to come into Haryana. Then they stopped them at some 7 or 8 places in Haryana, and still they reached the Delhi border. There also they had to face tear gas and so on. And at each of these places, they had to face tear gas, water cannons. The government had dug up 15 feet trenches on the roads, and these people had to remove the barricades, fill the trenches, and come. Okay, despite such a struggle where they had to really face the police force, they are still very peaceful in their struggle. They have in fact been feeding the police langar, and treating the police force with respect. But they do not want the government to place these kind of barricades to prevent democratic protests. So they're asserting the democratic protest right. They're also being peaceful. That's one thing. Secondly, there is another lie that the government is promulgating, that there is somebody else behind them. One day they say it is a Congress party. Then when it is clear that Congress party is too weak to pull off such a protest, then they say it's Khalistan. Now yesterday they started saying that there are some forces from Pakistan and China and Canada who are pushing this, that it's an international conspiracy. So just being pushed by the government to divert the attention. One of the things which this struggle has done is that because it has reached the Delhi border, all the media has also gone there. They've spoken to the farmers. So now they can no longer say, either the media or the government can no longer say that this is not a farmers' protest. So Amit Shah himself had to admit that actually this is a genuine farmers protest. It's not being driven by something else behind, right? That I think is a big victory for the farmers organization, that they've proved that it is actually a genuine farmers protest. And secondly, you go and talk to the farmers there, every one of them actually knows what is there in these acts. It's not that they are being misled by some leaders either. They will tell exactly why these acts are designed to put agriculture in the hands of the corporates, and that is what they are resisting. So that's the other lie that they have put to rest. But of course, still the false propaganda still goes on, but it's come out very clearly. Then the third thing is that they say the farmers don't understand what they're talking about. They are just being misled. Now, in these talks which have gone on, there have been 3 rounds of talks. The farmers have actually countered every single argument put forward by the experts and secretaries and ministers who are there in that room. And when they made a presentation, the farmers also made a detailed presentation saying why these acts are bad for the farmers, why they need to be repealed. So these are the things that I would like to place on record, that actually all the lies of the government has been exposed. The mood at the border, Singhu border or Tikri border, is actually that the farmers are in for a long struggle if the government doesn't give in. So until the government gives into the demands, they're ready to sit there. So when I talked to several farmers there, they have come fully prepared to stay even for 3 months if necessary. Of course, it's not easy to sleep on the road, to be on the border, and in this winter season outdoors. But the farmers are just taking it in their stride. They're not even saying that, oh, we have made a big sacrifice or something. They are basically they've set up their open air kitchens. They are making their parathas, they're cooking their food, they are having their music and dance, and they are having their speeches and slogans. So it is all happening. It's all happening simultaneously. It's like a big mela. At the same time, it's a very set of people with a lot of clarity on what they want, how they want to achieve it. They know that they've kind of got Delhi Sarkar by the scruff of their neck, जैसे इनके गर्दन पकड़ के बैठे हैं, and they know that until they get their demands, they're not going to release the hold, on the Delhi Sarkar. So, I mean, when I say Delhi Sarkar, I mean the Kendra Sarkar, the union government in
Central government.
Delhi. So right. So that is they are clear about that. And now what is happening is that farmers from across the country are joining. Rajasthan farmers, thousands of them are coming. Uttar Pradesh farmer already about 4,000-5,000 people have come. Now from Maharashtra, another 1,500 farmers. Maharashtra and Gujarat. They said they will start, on 7th and start coming there. Some of the other important borders of Delhi may also be blockaded. So the government is actually facing the time pressure. So we have to see what they do. But I just want to put some of the wrong propaganda that the government is doing to rest, saying that this is a genuine farmers agitation by genuine demands. Farmers are not being misled by anybody. They understand these things fully, and they know how to get their demands met by the government.
Thank you, Kiranji, for putting a stop to this false narrative. Because if you talk to someone about these protests, there are two thoughts come into picture. One is, okay, farmer is genuinely unhappy with the bill, and secondly, oh, they are misled. It is the hand of some other organization, foreign organization behind the farmers. But it is like you mentioned that the farmers, they're completely informed, they're completely determined, and the clarity of thought of what they actually want. They won't be misled. Kiranji, if you have 5 minutes, I have one more question for you.
Uh,
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Uh,
Ankit, I also want to ask one question
Go ahead.
actually. Kiran, how do you think
Go,
the protest
go
will
ahead,
shape
Ankit.
up?
Yeah. Yes.
How do you think the ongoing struggle will shape up next week?
Yeah.
Do you think? Yeah,
Sure.
that's it.
Sure. I got the question. Ankit, you also had a question, right? I can take both of
yeah,
them
yeah.
together.
Yeah, my question is, okay, see, I also, like in the past, I've read some articles that said that the poor condition of farmers is because of the middlemen. And the present bill, they're saying, okay, it can dissolve. The present bill doesn't say it, but the people are saying, okay, it will dissolve APMC. So isn't it a good thing that if the middleman is dissolved, APMC, if I'm equating it clearly to a middleman, if it is being dissolved,
No.
it will benefit the farmer.
Yeah. So I'll just answer them one after the other. See, as far as the struggle is concerned, it is going to intensify. There are two fronts in this struggle. One is Delhi. On Delhi, in Delhi, more and more farmers are going to come. In the next few days, 20,000 more farmers are going to come from Punjab alone. There are thousands of farmers coming in from Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, and from some of the faraway states also, like Gujarat and so on, like I said. So that is one thing that's going to intensify. Secondly, the protests all over the country are also going to intensify. There's a Bharat Bandh that has been called on 8th, which means that this struggle will spread to every nook and corner country. That is another type of intensification. So one is, taking this to the nook and corner of the country, and the other one is, making the hold on Delhi stronger. So these are the two things that the struggle is planning to force the government to actually come up with a more meaningful response. Right now, the response is, okay, we'll change 2 or 3 clauses in this bill in these acts. Otherwise, these acts are generally pretty good. So this is what the government is saying. What the farmers are saying is that these acts are fundamentally flawed. Their purpose itself is wrong, and some of the very central clauses, central aspects of these acts are wrong. So therefore, they have to be removed, which means that the acts itself have to be repealed. So this is the position, as far as the struggle is concerned, that the government has to come out with a more meaningful response. So the second question of Ankit, that's very important. See, basically, lot of misinformation is being spread by the government and unfortunately by some of the so-called experts also. APMC market yards, first thing, right, have been brought since the 1970s and expanded in 80s, and even now further being strengthened. Uh, to protect the interests of the farmers. So APMC market yard is a friend of the farmer. I think there's no question about that. You talk to any farmer, they'll tell you that actually market yards, existence of market yards is good for the farmers. Okay, because in India we have small and marginal farmers who are all dispersed. If each of them has to bargain with the traders, they will be at the receiving end. They won't be able to actually get a better price. So only if they can collectively bargain, only then they can get a better price. So what happens in the APMC market is every morning, all the traders and all the farmers who are there is a auction that happens. Open auction in every APMC market yard happens, and only then the price is decided. Okay, so there is a mechanism. Of course, there could be problems with the mechanism. Let's say if all the traders are colluding, then then there'll be a problem. But the thing is, the APMC market has a mechanism to deal with those things. If there is any problem like collusion of traders, or that the farmers are getting cheated in terms of price or payments, or in terms of how the weighing is done. So farmers can get cheated at a lot of levels. Weighing, grading, moisture measurement, price, payments, all these things. They can get cheated. But APMC market yard provides a framework where they can actually they can organize and prevent this kind of an exploitation. And there is a market committee, there is a state government agriculture officer who's sitting there. Okay, this is the thing. Of course, there are middlemen in the APMC market yards, but the problem is of the middlemen doesn't go away if you just remove the APMC market yard. It's like, you have a leaky roof, and the point is to fix the leaky roof, but not to remove the roof altogether. Then you are completely open to the sky. So that is what this act is trying to do, which is basically collapse the APMC mandis and say that it's a free for all. That means a trader who now has to get a license, whose every transaction has to be recorded, and if they don't make a payment on time, there is some way of the government and the farmers going after them. So now anybody can buy without any kind of a restriction, and there is no regulation. So we are saying that unregulated market is not good for the farmers. Unregulated market is always good for the stronger players. And this is a clear economic argument. I mean, this is like economics 101. This is not some rhetorical argument that is being made. Unregulated market will disadvantage the weaker player. It gives advantage to the stronger player, and the stronger players who could be traders, or now it could be agribusinesses, it could be big corporations like Adani's, Ambani's, and Reliance, and Walmart, and Amazon. Everybody wants to get into the food business in India, agribusiness in India. So all these big players have forced the Indian government, or not forced, together with the Indian government, have actually made these acts, so that they say that billions of dollars can come as investment. But we are saying that those billions of dollars are going to strangle the small and marginal farmers, and actually put more power in the hands of the corporates. So this is a very clear analysis. There is no, there is no misunderstanding about this. It's not about middlemen. And in fact, see, Ambani, Adani, Reliance, or Heritage, whatever name you may call it, they are all also middlemen. I mean, this has to be very clearly understood. If farmer is the producer and consumer is out there anywhere in the villages, in the towns, cities, whatever, whether it's Reliance, Ambani, Adani, anybody, they are middlemen. The small traders are also middlemen. The rediwala who sells vegetables on a cart in your city is also a middleman. So it is not that middlemen per se are evil. It is that, do you have such a powerful middleman who is going to take over the situation and dominate the market and set the terms and the price in their favor? Or do you have a set of middlemen who are also getting a cut, but there is a mechanism to regulate them? So this is the choice. And the choice is very clear as far as the farmers are concerned. We don't want big middlemen like Adani to come and swallow all the small middlemen and then dominate the market and completely take away agriculture from the small and marginal farmers. So that's the bottom line.
Thank you, Kiranji. So what you mean to say is, okay, APMC is there and it is actually helping the small and marginal farmers to sell their produce, and the middleman is something different from APMC. Should not be confused with APMC, right?
No, I'm saying that middlemen are everywhere. Middlemen are there inside the APMC, outside the APMC. See, what this act tries to do is, outside the APMC, it is trying to create an unregulated market. And it says that, they don't have, the traders don't have to pay the fees. They don't have to be subject to any regulation. Okay. So that means if the farmer gets cheated on anything, there won't be any place where the farmer can go. So is this advantageous to the traders or is it advantageous to the farmer? Farmers are saying that it's advantageous to the traders and not to us. Okay. And the government is trying to confuse the issue by saying the traders are running this. Traders actually are happy if they don't have any regulation. That's point number one. Just one more thing I just want to add is, see, this is not just a theoretical argument, right? In Bihar, for example, in 2006, the government already brought the reforms that it is talking about now through these acts. Okay, they have cancelled the APMC Act. So there are no APMC market yards in Gujarat, in Bihar. Sorry, in Bihar, there are no APMC market yards there. And at that time also the government said now farmers will be free to sell anywhere, anybody is free to buy anywhere, and so on. So now if you see whether farmers are getting good price in Bihar or they're not getting, anybody can go and do this, and it's a public information. Farmers in Bihar get the lowest prices anywhere in the country. You take paddy, you take maize, you take any other crop, you compare the price. Let us say in Madhya Pradesh, compare the price in Bihar. You compare the price in Telangana, compare the price to the price in Bihar. Bihar will be 30% less. Okay. If actually this reform is favorable to farmers, then Bihar farmers should have got more. And you go and ask the Bihar farmers, why are you not able to get a good price? Why is a paddy farmer in Telangana getting 1,800 rupees and you are selling only at 1,300 rupees? The Bihar farmers say that it is because we don't have APMC market yards. Okay, this is the simple answer that a Bihar farmer will say, that we don't have market yards. Agar ek market yard hame milni hai, to I have to go 400 kilometers to the next state. Therefore, I buy to whichever trader comes to my village. Okay, and the trader who comes to the village actually has a better bargaining power than a trader in the APMC market yard, because there is competition. Here only one or two traders come to the village. They both collude and set a low price and nobody is going to buy at a higher price. Okay, so this very clearly shows that actually traders directly coming to the villages, if that is the only mechanism, then the traders find it much more easier to collude and kind of divide the whole kingdom into basically, these are your 10 villages, these are my 10 villages, and this is another 10 villages which belongs to somebody else, and there only those one or two traders go, and it's very easy to have such an arrangement, and all the farmers end up selling at a lower price. This is what happens in Bihar. We don't want Bihar farmers experience to become the experience of farmers across the country. So this is very clear. It's not a theoretical argument.
Thank you, Kiranji, for putting the enlightening thought and putting clarity into the discussion. Now I will like to root towards Mr. Mahendra Yadav, who is from Bihar and has been working with Bihar farmers for about 2 decades.
Yes.
Mahendra ji, I want to ask you कि जैसे किरण जी ने बताया कि 2006 में APMC को डिसॉल्व कर दिया गया, मतलब जो मार्केट है उसको डिसॉल्व कर दिया गया, तो आप बता पाएंगे कि उससे पहले फार्मरी कंडीशन कैसी थी और उसके बाद कंडीशन कैसी हुई है डिसॉल्व करने के बाद? बेटर हुई है कि वर्स हुई है? महेंद्र जी।
2006 से जब से मंडियों को खत्म किया गया है, और ये कह के ही खत्म किया गया था कि हम इसको ओपन कर रहे हैं, फ्री कर रहे हैं, जिससे बेहतर होगा, किसानों को प्राइस मिलेगी और छोटे व्यापारी को, बड़े व्यापारी को सीधे बेच पाएंगे। लेकिन कहीं भी न्यूनतम समर्थन मूल्य भी नहीं मिल पाता है, और एक बड़ी त्रासदी है जो अभी किरण भाई बहुत सलीके से बता रहे थे कि दूसरे स्टेट से कम रेट पर यहाँ बिकता है। उदाहरण के लिए रबी के फसल में मक्का बिहार में सबसे ज्यादा होता है, और एक तरह से कहिए तो देश के तीसरे चौथे नंबर पर मक्के का उत्पादन करता है। इस साल जब लॉकडाउन हुआ उसके बाद मक्के की कीमत 900 से 1000 रुपये पे आ गई। पिछले साल वो 2000 से ऊपर थी। 1850 रुपये एमएसपी था और उनको किसानों को 1000 भी मक्के की न्यूनतम लागत नहीं मिल रही थी। तो जो लोग कहते हैं कि मंडियों को खत्म कर देने से सभी समस्या का हल हो जाएगा, तो उनको बताना चाहिए कि बिहार में मक्का जो बड़े पैमाने पर और काफी क्वालिटी का उत्पादित होता है, क्यों नहीं उस मक्के को सरकार खरीद पाई। सरकार एक दाना भी नहीं मक्के को खरीदी। बिहार सरकार मक्के को नहीं खरीदती है, और जबकि अन्य स्टेट में एमएसपी के दर पे सरकार कुछ परसेंटेज जैसे 20 से 25% तक मक्के का खरीद करती है। और बिहार सरकार ये कह के कि हम पीडीएस में मक्का नहीं देते हैं इसलिए नहीं खरीदती है। हम लोग इसको लेके पटना हाईकोर्ट में पीआईएल भी किए थे, और पीआईएल पर अंतिम में उस समय मानसून आ गया था, खेतों में घरों में मक्का सड़ रहा है, किसान के खेत में मक्का सड़ रहा है, और जो बाजार के लोग हैं, जो बड़े बड़े व्यापारी हैं, वो किसानों को और भी सस्ता में दें, 800 में दें, 900 में दें, 700 में दें, इसलिए वो पूरे के पूरे उनका दुष्चक्र चलता है। इसलिए जब से मंडियों को खत्म किया गया है, किसानों की माली हालत और खराब हुई है, न कि बेहतर हुई है। और अभी जब किसान के पास अनाज होता है, वो धान की फसल है, तो कुछ परसेंट सरकार पैक्स के माध्यम से खरीदती है। जब किसान के घर में धान हो जाता है तो खरीद नहीं शुरू होता है, और जब उसको खरीद के छोटे छोटे व्यापारी अपने पास इकट्ठा कर लेते हैं तो सरकार खरीद शुरू कराती है, और जब शुरू कराती है तब जाके उनके व्यापारियों के माल जाते हैं, जो सरकारी खरीद होती है उसमें भी और बाजार में भी। तो किसान दोहरी मार बिहार की झेलते हैं, और मंडी अगर होती तो नहीं होती। तीसरी बात मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि मान लीजिए कि हम एक गांव में किसान कैसे बेचता है। गांव में छोटे किसानों के पास छोटे छोटे व्यापारी जाते हैं, जिनको आप मिडिल मैन कह सकते हैं। वो खरीदते हैं औने पौने दाम में, और अगर उससे बड़ा किसान है, अगर बेचना चाहे तो वो छोटे मार्केट में या थोड़ा उससे बड़ा का बाजार है वहां ले जाता है। वहां सारे व्यापारी एक दूसरे के साथ मिले होते हैं, और वो आपका इस तरह से कुछ नहीं है, उनके सपोर्ट करने के लिए कोई सिस्टम नहीं है, और इसलिए मजबूरी में जाके किसी न किसी व्यापारी के यहाँ अपना अनाज रख के चले आते हैं और उधार में बेचते हैं। उधारी बेच के आते हैं, बहुत सारे व्यापारी बाद में पैसा देते हैं। गांव में भी उधारी बेचना पड़ता है। तो ये पूरी परिस्थिति है कि मार्केट खत्म होने से यहाँ की स्थिति खराब हुई है। इसलिए सरकार को एकदम ये जो कहती है कि हम मार्केट कमेटियों के चलते जो समस्या है वो उसकी गलत समझ है, उसको दुरुस्त करने की जरूरत है। तीनों बिल के खिलाफ में जो किसान आंदोलन है, किसान आंदोलन की जो मांगे हैं वो सही है, और उसके समर्थन में बिहार के किसान भी अभी आज भी तमाम जगह संघर्ष कर रहे थे, और उनकी एकजुटता में वो लोग भी शामिल होंगे। और आखिरी बात मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि एकदम न्यूनतम समर्थन मूल्य की गारंटी सरकार को करने की जरूरत थी, न कि व्यापारी के हाथ में, अडानी के हाथ में पूरे खेती और किसानी को सौंपने की बात थी। और ये पूरे बाजार के हवाले जो किया जा रहा है वो एकदम किसान को गुलाम बनाने के लिए किया जा रहा है। किस खेती में जो न्यूनतम जो जो बीज लगते हैं किसके हाथ में है? मक्का का 4 किलो बीज जितने में मिलता है, 3 क्विंटल मक्का बेचने पर भी उतने पैसे नहीं आते हैं। कहाँ गई सरकार? 5 रुपये में प्याज बिकता है। जब किसान के पास हुआ था, हम लोग के सामने बिका 3 रुपये में। आज 50 रुपये आलू खरीदना पड़ता है, 4 रुपये आलू बिका। और सरकार कहती है हम भलाई के लिए कर रहे हैं कि जो स्टॉकिंग के लिए जो लिमिट थी उसको हम खत्म कर रहे हैं। ये पूरे के पूरे कॉरपोरेट व्यापारियों के फायदे के लिए किसानों को झांसे में रख के किया जा रहा है, और बिहार के किसानों पर दोहरी मार पड़ी है।
Thank you, Mahendra ji. Let me reiterate your words in English. What Mahendra ji is trying to say is that if we dissolve the APMC, there will be no regulation, and the farmer has to suffer because of it. The traders, they will take undue advantage of a non-regulated market, and they will procure the produce of farmers at much lower prices. He gave example of corn. Makkah, he said that the MSP of corn is set at around rupees 1,850 rupees. Sorry, maize, corn. Okay, and but in Bihar, the same thing is being sold at rupees 1,000 and even less than that, just because there's no regulation, there's no APMC market. He also gave an example of other crops in which the farmers are suffering because of because of this non-regulated market. Finally, I would request Bobby G to share the video of Miss Tasneem. Miss Tasneem is somehow, like, if you talk about farmers, the picture that comes into our mind is of a man who is working on the ground. But there are women farmers also, and they are quite suffering because of their patriarchal nature of the farming. So I just want to hear the views of Miss Tasneem. So Bobby, over to you.
मेरा नाम तस्नीम है और मैं दिशा सामाजिक संगठन से जुड़ी हुई हूँ और दिशा सामाजिक संगठन महिलाओं के विभिन्न मुद्दों पर काम करता है। इसके साथ साथ हम लोग महिला किसानों के हक अधिकार हेतु भी काम कर रहे हैं और महिला किसान का जो हक है उसको आज तक नहीं मिल पाया है। महिलाएं खेती में काम तो करती है, लेकिन उनको किसान का जो वास्तविक दर्जा है वो ना तो समाज देता है और ना ही वैधानिक रूप से उसे किसान का दर्जा मिल पाया है। महिलाएं जो हैं उनके लिए कोई भी अगर वो मंडी में अपनी फसल लेके जाती है तो उनको कोई व्यवस्था नहीं है कि उनको सुरक्षा प्रदान की जाए, उनके लिए कोई ठहरने की व्यवस्था नहीं है। तो हम लोग ये चाहते हैं कि अगर महिला किसान मंडी में अपनी फसल लेके जाती है तो उसके लिए वहाँ ठहरने की व्यवस्था हो और उसको विशेष तौर पर आसानी से उसकी फसल का वो बेच सके, उसकी व्यवस्था वहाँ होनी चाहिए। इसके साथ साथ पति के साथ जमीन में सह खातेदार के रूप में उसका नाम शामिल होना चाहिए और सरकार की जितनी भी योजनाएं हैं कृषि से संबंधित उसमें महिला किसानों का विशेष तौर पर आरक्षण होना चाहिए। महिला किसानों को उसी हिसाब से ट्रेनिंग, जो टेक्निकल ट्रेनिंग है वो मिलनी चाहिए ताकि वो अपनी खेती को और अच्छे से बेहतर कर पाए। और इसके साथ साथ जो कृषि यंत्र है वो महिलाओं के अनुरूप बनने चाहिए ताकि उनको खेती करने में आसानी हो। विभिन्न जगह, चाहे वो कृषि संस्थान हो, चाहे वो कृषि विश्वविद्यालय हो, उन सभी में जो है महिला किसानों की एक अपनी पहचान होनी चाहिए और सरकार भी उसको किसान के रूप में स्वीकार करे, साथ साथ समाज भी उसको स्वीकार करने के लिए हम कैंपेन चला रहे हैं और हम इसमें जुड़े हैं, लेकिन अभी भी उस तरह की चीज़ें नहीं मिल पाई है जो होना चाहिए। तो हम लोग ये चाहते हैं कि महिला किसान की जो सह खातेदारी है वो पति के साथ होनी चाहिए और ये बिल्कुल फ्री हो, कोई स्टाम्प इसमें ना लगे और अपने आप ही उनके नाम सह खातेदारी आ जाए। शुक्रिया।
Thank you, Babuji. I think Tasneem ji is rightly putting this point that the interest of women farmers should also be included in the bills, and the present acts, they are somewhat oblivious to the concerns of women farmers. That the APMC market, they doesn't have any kind of facility for women. They have not staying facility, washroom facilities, and other concerns. So we are running out of time, and I would request Dr. Sandeep Pandey, who is an Ramon Magsaysay awardee, to say final words, like what he thinks the bill will do to the farmers, and what should be the right action, the right course, which should be done by the government.
No, the final word will be that of the farmers, especially from Punjab, who have very valiantly, put up the fight at the Delhi border. And for the first time, this government is facing stiff resistance. Although just about a year back, there were agitations going on against the Citizenship Amendment Act and the National Register of Citizens. And had it not been for COVID, the government had no idea how to counter them. So a similar situation has arisen this time, except that this is a much wider struggle. The CA and RC, unfortunately, was portrayed as a struggle of Muslims, and only Muslim women were at the forefront. But this time you have not just farmers from Punjab who are more visible because they took the initiative, but there are farmers from all over India, as Kiran Kumar Visa was sharing, who are part of this struggle, and from local protests to farmers moving towards Delhi. We see, the farmers are taking initiative. And I think it is high time, since the new economic policies of privatization, liberalization, and globalization have been implemented, not just in agriculture, but every sector. The policies have been implemented which are anti-people. They are pro-corporate, because of which the gap between the rich and the poor is increasing in this country, as it has happened all over the world, wherever such policies have been implemented. And I think it is high time when the governments have to be told that if you are elected in a democracy, then you have to make policies which are pro people, in the interest of the people. And I think the farmers movement has arisen at a right time and with the right force, and the government has been put on back foot, and now they will have to take a decision which is in the interest of farmers. And we hope this will turn the tide of policy making in general, and the governments from now on will be more sensitive to the people. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sandeep. And I also see a pattern, like the CA NRC protest. Not the government directly, but indirectly they were portraying that the protest was organized by some organizations from Pakistan or Bangladesh, that there was a foreign agencies involved. Similarly, in case of Unnao protest, there was a narrative, okay, it is organized by some organizations from Pakistan and Bangladesh. And now again, the government indirectly is portraying that this protest is being organized by foreign organizations like Khalistan. Also, I want to, the one last thing I want to say, that we have all come together because of a campaign which is launched by Dr. Sandeep Pandey, which is towards a better future, which aims at bringing small changes in our lives to have a calamitous impact. Now, from this session today, I think we should remember the prayer we used to make during our school days, that we all were taught to pay regards to the God, to the provider who is providing us food, and we seek blessing from him before having lunch. I think with time we got so busy that we have forgotten that prayer. And I think the present thing, the present food, the present clothes, we should always pay respect to the people who are working on the ground in order to bring us these, I would say, these needs, these comforts. And if we say, okay, if the person who doesn't match our thought process, and we say, okay, if he's raising a concern, he's from a different, he's a terrorist or he's an anti-national, is quite, I think, wrong, morally, ethically, and we don't deserve that thing. After that, we don't deserve the food, the grain the farmer produced, if we call them anti-national or terrorists. So this is what I would like to say. It was a productive discussion, and I would like to thank all the panelists who take time from their busy schedule and present us with their enlightening thoughts. Thank you.